Nepal has been gripped by unrest following a government decision to regulate social media, sparking violent protests that left at least 19 people dead in Kathmandu. The government had imposed a ban last week on several of the world's largest platforms, including Facebook, X, and YouTube, claiming that the companies had failed to register with local authorities and comply with oversight requirements. This move triggered widespread anger among citizens, who viewed the ban as an attack on freedom of speech and an attempt to silence criticism of the government. On Monday, tens of thousands of protesters poured into the streets of the capital, gathering near the parliament building to demand the restoration of access to social media and to voice opposition to the proposed legislation. The demonstrations quickly escalated as security forces clashed with crowds. Witnesses reported scenes of chaos as police opened fire on protesters, leaving at least 19 people dead and many others injured. The incident has become one of the deadliest crackdowns in Nepal in recent years, drawing sharp criticism from human rights groups and international observers. The protests were sparked by a government bill aimed at tightening regulation of online platforms. Officials argued that the new law was necessary to ensure that social media companies are properly managed, accountable, and responsible for the content published on their sites. However, critics say the legislation is little more than a censorship tool designed to punish political opponents and restrict dissent. Many Nepalis believe the attempt to control social media is a direct attack on democratic values and an effort to silence the voices of ordinary citizens who rely on these platforms to express their opinions and organize movements. As the unrest grew, the political consequences were immediate. Home Minister Ramesh Lekak resigned late Monday during an emergency cabinet meeting called by Prime Minister Khadga Prasad Ali. His resignation was seen as an acknowledgement of the government's mishandling of the crisis and a bid to calm the anger on the streets. However, the resignation has not satisfied protesters, who continue to demand accountability for the killings and the withdrawal of the controversial bill. Following the violent clashes and mounting pressure from the public, the government announced on Tuesday that it was lifting the ban on social media platforms. Access to Facebook, X, YouTube, and other sites has now been restored, but the decision has done little to ease tensions. Many citizens remain outraged over the deaths of demonstrators and fear that the government will push ahead with its regulatory agenda despite the backlash. The events in Nepal have drawn international attention, with rights groups warning that the country is at risk of sliding backward on democratic freedoms. Observers note that Nepal has only recently stabilized politically after years of conflict and transition, and any attempt to curb civil liberties could undermine fragile gains. The killing of 19 protesters has underscored the deep mistrust between the public and the authorities, raising questions about whether the government will reconsider its approach or continue down a path of greater control. For now, the streets of Kathmandu remain tense. While the ban has been lifted, the wounds caused by the violence are fresh, and the struggle over free expression in Nepal is far from resolved.